Good morning. I'm doing great.
Great.
How are you? Yeah.
I'm good as well. On today's podcast, we're going to talk about different marketing topics, of course. But first, we're going to start with introduction. Please introduce yourself.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I know it's been a long time coming, so I'm happy to be here. My name is Natacha Kenol. I'm a digital marketing and advertising expert. I run Kenol Marketing, which is an advertising agency that helps business owners and entrepreneurs increase their revenue through ads mainly and social media.
Sounds
That's my day
cool.
job.
And where are
Yeah.
you located?
I'm in New York City.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah, in
also
a big city.
And how does it feel being a marketer in New York? Like, do you see many competitors in this industry right now in New York, or everyone is just online, so you don't really mind?
Yeah, because I've been doing this thing remote since I started my company, I don't feel like more competition. But what I do feel in New York is a lot more opportunity, actually. I feel like there's a lot more opportunities for collaborations. There's a lot more like people to network with that have been in the game for a long time and like can share some of their knowledge. So I just feel like this is a really good place to like grow on a personal level and also like grow your business through, collaborations or getting new clients and all of that.
It sounds
So I actually
amazing.
feel more of a growth versus like, oh, like so competitive, right? So I like that.
Do you have like a life example, like you've been like in Starbucks lately and you met I know like something that actually happened to you because you are based in New York?
Yeah, so for example, I met someone and we did a collab together, like a photo shoot, because I needed content to promote my new membership program. And so that just happened, right? Where it's like, all right, we'll do a photo shoot. So because you need content, and then in exchange, I gave him a lot of like marketing and advertising advice. So that's just like a recent example of something that's happened. Also, just getting together with other agency owners and kind of seeing, and this happened through a networking event that I went to. And then we just like exchange information on like what's working for you, what's working for me, and things like that. So I love
So
it.
a lot of going on in New York.
Yeah.
Not everything's
I'm
still online.
Yeah, so there's still, yeah, exactly. That was those collaborations were in person. So that's true to your point.
I think it's rare in our time. After COVID,
Yeah.
everyone just got online and no one gets out of the house anymore.
Yeah, it's true. And I try as like part of my, business development, I try to make it out to like different events. I'm not gonna say I do it consistently, but I do make an effort to do that, whether it's like once a week or bi-weekly or once a month, like at a really good event where I feel like, I'll be able to like meet other entrepreneurs, even if they're not in marketing or advertising, but other business owners that, where we can help each other build and grow. So,
Yeah, definitely.
and everyone's very ambitious here. So even if it's not like they're not trying to build a marketing company, they're building something, right? And there's a lot of creatives and creative people, which goes hand in hand with marketing and advertising. And so it's just great for that.
Wow, sounds amazing.
Yeah, it is. I love it.
I know that you have a lot of experience in marketing, but I know
Mhm.
that you also have education, like you have a
Yeah,
master's degree in business management.
yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? Do you think like if this is something that helps you to be what you are right now as a marketer?
Right. I love that question because I took a very non-traditional entrepreneurial path. I always wanted to get my master's degree, my MBA, since since my bachelor's. So I went into it like that was just always a life aspiration of mine, that I wanted to do. So once I got out of college and I worked, I think like 5 or so years, I was like, okay, I think now's the time, because I have real life experience where I'd love to go back and get my MBA. And I would say because I did an entrepreneur track, they had an option for that as a concentration. I feel like it was my first official exposure to entrepreneurship, in the sense that I hadn't, you know about it, you hear about it, but this was the first time I learned about it in school. And two of my professors were really successful millionaire, billionaire entrepreneurs. And so I feel like I got a lot out of learning from them through not only like the curriculum, but like their businesses. And I was also awarded like a scholarship from one of my professors. And so I, thought that it was a very, very valuable experience. I feel like it did help me because I'm a very like person. So in the sense of like, creating the business plan and making sure that you are creating the right type of business, like incorporating, whether it's a LLC or S Corp, learning about taxation, learning about accounting, learning about just all the things that I feel like are really important to start a business and be profitable. And those things I feel like helped me because I always had that in the back of my mind. Contracts. So of course you can learn all of that, on your own. But I personally love my experience of learning that through my MBA program, and also like getting to know other entrepreneurs that were in the program that had their own businesses, like super inspiring.
Oh,
So
amazing.
I thought yeah, for me it was worth it. I know people are like, drop out of college, drop out of school, like there's that narrative going on. That's cool if that's like what you want to do, but for me personally, I loved going back to school. I found it beneficial, and it gave me the courage and encouragement that I needed to be like, you know what, I can do it. I am smart enough, and like now I have all this information and knowledge, so I'm ready.
Well,
Yeah.
what they say is knowledge is the power. So,
Mhm. Yeah, it was. It
so you
was.
okay, got it. So you definitely recommend for someone who's just starting in marketing to get their education first, and then maybe to learn from experience.
For someone starting out in marketing, I would recommend if they're starting their business or they're just starting in marketing.
They started like freelancing, or maybe starting their own
Yeah.
agency.
Yeah, I think getting some kind of education is beneficial. It doesn't necessarily have to be the MBA route or college route, but I think there's plenty of free certificates out there that you could do, like the Facebook Blueprint if you're trying to run ads, or there's like thousands of Udemy courses. So I think on YouTube, right? So I think getting educated on current trends, also the technical aspect of marketing and all that is smart. And then just also learning as you go, right? Like experience is one of the greatest teachers. So like jumping in and like my first freelance, I'll never forget because I was not harassing him, but I was like, hey, I'd really love to like work on one of your projects. Like I'll work for free, right? Because I saw the value in like working with like a high level person like him and his agency. And I felt like I could really learn from him. And I didn't have like really experienced freelancing. I had the degrees, I had the education, I had the corporate experience, I had the marketing experience in big companies, but not like the freelance experience. So, and that was just me learning as I go. So I think both is a good way to
Yeah,
go.
I agree.
Yeah, combination. Yeah.
Especially when we are in the marketing business and everything is so dynamic here, you need to learn like every
Yeah,
day.
exactly. Yeah, you got to keep up, or else like whatever you're doing was like is old news and it's not going to be as effective, you know?
Yeah, that's true. So that is good that we have internet with a lot of different
Yeah.
tools, with also free tools, YouTube and Udemy.
Yeah.
I think those are great platforms to use.
Yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely. Hmm.
I know that you said that you're helping businesses to grow revenue with ads,
Hmm.
social media. That's like the
Yeah.
main ads. Okay, so I have a question about SEO. What do you
Hmm.
think, as someone who runs ads, about SEO? Is it
Right.
helpful to businesses? Should they spend money on it?
Yes. Search engine optimization.
Yeah.
It's funny, I talk about this in with my clients, and I call it the digital marketing foundation, which is before you run ads, I really think it's important to get your foundation going and get traction there, which includes search engine optimization, which includes like organic content marketing on social media. And I believe like email marketing, and optimizing your website, right? And all those things that then feed into your ads and it all works together. And SEO is a critical component because this is like bringing traffic to your website or bringing people over to your website, which then you can convert into sales. And I think because there's the notion or like misconception that SEO is dead, right? People are like, well, or they're like, just the sound of it sometimes scares people, right? I know you probably experienced that where they're like,
Yeah.
SEO.
Email marketing is dead.
Yeah, that's true. And it's SEO in 2022 is not just a blog, right? That's also people just think I have to do blogs. Like blogs are great, but like your YouTube channel is
Yeah.
SEO. You know, and then you can just repurpose your YouTube if you wanted to on your website. Or you could use Pinterest for search engine optimization. That's a huge search engine that people they think of it as social media, but really you can drive a lot of people to your website using Pinterest. So I think it's very important, and I think it definitely should be part of everyone's strategy. It's just going to look different depending on your business and your goals, but it definitely should be part of your strategy um, in 2022, 2023. And, you know, Google's not going away. So
That's true.
for Bing.
Yeah, that's true.
So
The
yeah,
problem with SEO, because you have so many different directions to go and so many,
yeah,
even Pinterest. This is one platform with special. You need to treat especially like images, short
yeah,
videos. YouTube is also a different platform, so the
yeah.
content creation is endless, and you don't really know where to go. Like, how do you suggest to your clients where to start or which social platform to choose?
Yeah, so the first thing I would do is kind of take a look at my competitors. If like you really don't know, okay, what should I focus on? Like pick your top 5. And I usually do this anyways, like as part of their audit, right? Just to see, okay, like what are competitors doing versus you? And then that would at least give you some kind of idea of like, well, if most of my competitors are really, really heavy on Pinterest, then maybe I should consider being on Pinterest. You know, of course, just because other people do something doesn't mean that it necessarily is working for them. But you also kind of have to use just your common sense and you know, if you see that if it's a successful company and there's multiple doing it, then there's a high chance that maybe there's something to that. And do your own kind of market research. So that would be like my first, what do you call it? That's where I would start if I really like had no idea like what the heck should I be doing. I would just look at my competitors and that would give you some insight.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because sometimes you
Yeah.
even don't have any ideas. Like, you don't really, I don't think
Hmm.
that I should use Pinterest. I don't know what should I post there. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Or maybe I shouldn't have a blog, right? Or maybe I shouldn't do email marketing, or maybe I want to do YouTube, but my customers aren't on YouTube. So that
Yeah.
doesn't really make sense because you're wasting your time, and really you should invest your content marketing somewhere else. And also, like, when it comes to SEO, distribution is a big part of it, which is like making sure that your content is also being seen. And so, you know, there's the creating the content, and then there's distributing the content, which is making sure that it goes on the internet wherever it needs to go, and multiple times, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're spending 20-30 hours creating a white paper, you want to make sure that people are seeing this white paper. And
That's
so
why
you
you
don't
have,
talk about it once, you talk about it maybe for a year, in once a month, or however you want to do it. So that's critical too, to your strategy.
yeah, that's true. And that's why you have
Yeah,
ads, so you can promote what you've been working so hard on.
exactly. That too, right? I love how when it comes to ads, and I know you know this, like, people think of ads just for sales, right? It's like, let me get sales, but you can also leverage ads for so many other things, and content distribution being one of them, because that could be like part of your sales funnel or marketing funnel, where certain pieces of content really help your potential customers, right, make a decision. And so again, if you're spending 20-30 hours and you're investing that much, because somebody's going to write it and you have to pay that person, why not also use some of your budget for content into making sure that it's distributed and getting out to who you want, as customers,
That's right. But
in less time.
yeah, but sometimes it's super hard to explain it to the client because they want to
Yeah.
see results. So it's hard to,
Yes. Results.
yeah, I'm investing money, so I would like to see those leads, and content
Yeah.
promotion isn't getting me anywhere. So yeah,
Hmm.
they should understand marketing as well. So when I talk to my
Yeah.
clients, I'm telling them that they're not spending money on ads, they're investing money on ads. So that's
Yes.
maybe a next question. Like, how do you actually
Mm.
suggest what budget should they use for ads?
Yeah. So I typically give them two suggestions. So it depends, like, if they're starting out, right? They're businesses and they don't have a lot of marketing budget. I use or I use a simple formula called the minimum viable budget, MVB, which is $5 per ad per day. So if you run 2 ads and 2 audiences, so that you at least have, variation, so you can see what works best, audience A or audience B, ad A or ad B, that would put you at about $300, and you could do a campaign of 2 weeks. So you spend more in less amount of time, and make it more like concentrated. So that's the minimum viable budget. If you want to, like, run a test, and you don't have a lot of budget, you at least need enough where it's enough to reach those people in the audience, right? Where it's not too spread out, where it's not going to work, because we know that for someone to convert, right, they need to see your ad multiple times. They need to be going through a whole customer journey. And so that's going to take them seeing the ads more often, which is more money, et cetera, and a bunch of other reasons. But that's the minimum viable budget. The second one is sales projection. I use the sales projection calculator, and that's more based on, if this is your revenue goal, then you need X amount you need to spend or invest, $5,000 in budget in order to meet your $20,000-$30,000 goal, depending on how much your leads cost, what's your conversion rate, all the little jargon terms. But so those are two methods, and it really, the one I recommend just depends on where the business is, right? And how much budget they have for dedicated specifically to marketing and advertising. If they tell me, Natasha, I don't really have any, I'll be like, all right, well, use the MBB. If they're like, no, I'm ready to rock and roll, like I want to accelerate my sales, I know that we can sell more, and this is just like a way of us of acquiring more new customers, that I'm like, cool, well, like what's your sales goal, and then we do it that way. So those are the two methods, and
I love this approach.
yeah, they work.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, because I came up with the MVB because people were telling me their sales goal, and then when I told them, okay, cool, that sounds great. So in order to get 10,000 a month in sales, you're gonna need to spend X amount, and they'd be like,
Whoa.
what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, ads are expensive. Like, I don't know why people think it's cheap like back in the day, but ads are expensive. And also I remind them that this is your front end revenue. If you have a product that you can buy multiple times, or there's upsells, you have to think of it as a business person. You have to think of it as like, what's the lifetime value of my customer, not what am I making off this person. That sounds wrong, but what am I making up front, right?
Yeah, from
You got
this
to think of it
specific
long
sale.
term.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
it's a
true.
long-term game.
That's
You said
true.
that.
But because you've been like,
Mhm.
you have MBA, so you can say that to people.
Yes.
Because you understand
Yes, I
business.
can. And right. And I tell them, I'm like, listen.
Here's my degree behind me on the wall. I know what I'm talking about.
Exactly. And experience, that combined. So yeah, I feel confident in, letting them know what's up, being honest. Because really it's like, I'm not going to benefit from you not winning,
Yes.
So it's like, I rather be upfront at the very beginning and set expectations, especially when it comes to money being spent in advertising and marketing. I think it's really important. So
Yeah, I agree. Then I have a last question for you regarding
yeah.
advertising platform. Which is your favorite
Mm-hmm.
and why?
It's a good question. So I think, well, I know actually my favorite is an OG, Google Ads, because I started there, and I feel like it holds a special place in my heart. I think because I started with Google Ads, and I've done really well. I mean, across all platforms, but that was my first time. I feel like being like, wow, like I'm really good at ads. And then I moved over right to other platforms, but I would say that's my favorite. What's interesting though, and I think it's just like my clients right now, is I haven't done as much Google Ads. I've done a lot more Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn, and now I'm dabbling into TikTok ads. But yeah, I think, Facebook ads is a close second, but I will say Google is first, and then Facebook and Instagram second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that
Yeah.
input. And
No
I think
problem.
that's it for today. Thank you for being on this podcast.
Thank you
It was
for
nice
having
talking
me.
to
This
you.
was fun. Yeah, we should do it again. So nice
Yes,
talking
definitely.
to you.
Bye.